there, kids! Welcome to the Child of Mecha live stream. I'm your host, Tim, the one and only Child of Mecha. It is Thursday, and we had a really good stream last night. I was very happy with it. If you missed it, man, go back and watch it. Do yourself a favor, go back and watch it. I personally had a pretty good amount of fun last night. I think everybody else did. Hopefully. We started scratch building a weapon for the Shiki last night. You know, if you didn't see it. So the original weapon that I had planned for this thing, on closer inspection, it's just terrible. The molding, you know, nothing lines up. The shapes are inconsistent. Everything is just, it's bad, right? So, Soravan in the chat last night, he says, you should just scratch build it. And then, of course, that put the idea in my head, and then I put it out for a vote, and everybody, of course, said, yeah, you should definitely scratch build it. So, we're scratch building a weapon. Now, and I have plastic shavings all over me right now. But what we're doing is basically remixing the original weapon. We're keeping the spirit of the weapon, but we're refining it into a better kind of design. We started on the drum last night. It's a little longer, a little thinner than the original drum, and we're going to basically start to build around that. And we'll do some of that here today. Now, if you caught my bonus stream summary, our friend Jashan in the chat last night, they had a really, really good point. One that I honestly just could not get out of my head. And they were like, you know, you should go ahead and build the original, and then that way it can kind of show folks how to kind of salvage a poor, you know, poorly manufactured product like that. And I'm like, damn, that's really good. That's a really, really good point. So I made the decision last night just to say fuck it and do both. We'll build both, and then at the end of the process, we'll put it up to a vote on which design goes with the Shiki, and yeah, so we'll let you guys decide. So I think that should be a lot of fun. You know, building both and kind of letting you guys decide and everything and all that. And yeah, so far so good. The work I did a lot of work. I was up very late last night. I was up until 5 last night, working on the original gun, and just yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Reshaping, kind of flattening surfaces, leveling surfaces, looking at this thing just kind of down, you know, down the length of the body. Basically everything leans to one side. I don't know if that's poor design or poor casting. But yeah, I've basically had to manually realign the entire length of the body just to get this thing squared up and everything. It's looking good. I will say that. It's looking good so far. And we've got, well, I should say I've got a lot of work to do on this thing. But so far, it's actually starting to look like a half decent little weapon. But there's a lot to go on this thing. And I'll be honest with you, reshaping and flattening and all of that is tedious, time-consuming work, and it is not my favorite pastime in modeling. So that's a bit of a bummer, but you know, what are you going to do at this point? So I was actually watching Apex Nerd. He said, try not to jinx it, Tim, right? Dude. Oh man. Like I said, I spent hours after the stream last night working on this thing. And it's going to take many more hours to get this thing looking right. So, but we're going to get this thing looking right. And we're also going to build a really, really cool remixed version of it too. So I'm really actually looking forward to this because it does kind of get the creative juices flowing. And like I was going to say, I was watching a bit of Old School Gunpla, George, his live stream from a little bit earlier, you know, today. He streams at like 6 a.m. Eastern time here in the US. And mind you, I was sound asleep. So I didn't, of course, watch it, but I caught up on it. And, you know, he had mentioned the stream last night, which was really, really, you know, kind of felt good and everything. And, you know, he was commenting about, you know, the process that I go through in terms of, you know, kind of design, engineering, all of that. It was very, very humbling because what he said kind of really hit close to home. Because what he said was like the way that I do things and the way that I kind of think through problems and try things and then pivot if it doesn't work and things like that. He's like, that's exactly how I build. And he said, you know, it was really, really, how did he put it? And it was basically reinforced, kind of what he was doing, and he felt comfortable in the fact that he wasn't the only one, right? So I mean, yeah, the philosophy of things and the kind of approach that you take to, you know, kind of this level of work, right? That's something that honestly you can't pass up, you know, because when you get into kind of this level of work, you're definitely scale modeling, right? Reassuring. Thank you, Duo-Fi. Yes, reassuring. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. And welcome. Thank you for watching, and thank you for the assist. I appreciate that. But yeah, that exactly, it was reassuring, he said. But like I said, the philosophy of things, kind of when you get into what we do, you do have to have, you know, kind of a philosophy and a strategy and things like that into, you know, how to work these problems, right? Because essentially what it dials down to is we're solving problems. You know, we're at that point left scale modeling in the past, and we're damn near bordering on engineering at this point, you know, because at some points we think about aesthetics, at other points we think about structure, at some other points we think about completely reshaping something or manufacturing something that didn't exist before. So these are the kind of philosophies that, you know, I definitely stress. And, you know, once you guys start to up the levels of what you do, you're going to be able to develop kind of your own philosophies and kind of think about it on a little bit of a deeper level. So definitely keep that in mind. If you're not doing it already, you probably will in the future. Just keep it in mind. Keep it back here. And yeah, we power forward. So with that being said, let's go to camera 2. Here we go. All right. So let's get caught up here. Let's get the visor on. And so one of the things that I did off stream last night was on the fins here, and it may be there we go. That bottom one is catching a good shadow there. Yeah, right. So I beveled the fins. Maybe you can see it if I twist that down. Yeah, you might be able to see that in a little bit of a profile, but the camera's focusing up here. Maybe if I get it a little closer. Yeah, there you go. You can kind of see it in profile there. But I beveled the fins here, and they look amazing. I didn't do it on the other one because I didn't want to get too far, but yeah, I am really liking the look of the fins. And we'll jump back to this eventually, but I am kind of caught up on the weapon and everything. We'll plate over all of this in here and all that, and just make it all look good. But yeah, the beveling of the fins really makes a huge difference in terms of the overall look of those and everything too. All right, so here are the bits from the existing, the initial weapon, the Aura gun from Studio Reckless, right? So what I did is, of course, I've already glued the body together. That's, you know, you can kind of still see a little bit of the plastic magic shining through. I haven't gotten to this surface just yet. But the whole underside is essentially done, leveled, squared, everything. And it's looking good. It's all nice and smooth there, all that. And I routed out that kind of ugly little detail piece here, and let's see if it'll catch. Yeah, see, I replaced it with a, what is that, 6mm minus mold, and that looks really good. That's just one of the resin bits that I had casted back in the day, and then leveled the front part out, and all that looks really good there. And then reinforced in there, you can see those two strips of plastic. The wall of plastic right here in this little detail, right up here in this little indent, was paper thin. You could literally see light coming through it, right? So I know I'm probably going to go back and kind of reinforce these lines and kind of scribe those in. So I did myself a favor and reinforced that with you know, some plastic strip and everything like that. So now that that's all taken care of, that's all nice and square. It fits fairly flush on there and looks pretty good. But one thing that I did notice, there is there is a subtle texture on this body, and you can kind of see it, how the light catches it. It's very kind of matte. But then on the front section here, this piece, right, the side is much glossier. Watch as kind of the light hits that there we go. You can see there's a little bit more of a reflection, especially right up here, my God, than this. This is more matte, right? So when it comes to priming and painting, I don't think that's going to be a huge deal, because this surface is very subtle. And I use Mr. Surfacer 1000 anyway, which is more of a matte primer. And so it's not going to be a big deal, but that's just kind of goes to show you another instance of the quality or lack thereof in the molding process of this thing. So yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. So so here's the original drum, and got these two pieces glued up. Had to apply a little bit of super glue in here. I haven't worked on that yet, but just filling you know, some gaps and things in there, some surface imperfections and things. So I'll go back, fix that, make that look good. And here we go. Let's get that put together with the microscopic little pegs there. Now I'm going to have to address this seam line going all the way around because that's not sitting flush at all. But it is what it is. So, and then got the handle. The handle here was absolutely the worst part of this whole process. Nothing, and I mean nothing aligned. Everything was out of alignment. Everything was out of square. It was really, really bad. So this little section here was separate from the rest of it, and so glued that on, leveled these surfaces. This surface here from the small part that got glued on was probably about a ½ millimeter taller on this surface than the corresponding piece, which made for a huge challenge to get that leveled and you know, planed down to what we need, right? So, but did it, got it flat, had to cut off some of the details and things like that. There was a little kind of bump out piece right here that kind of transitioned between the two surfaces. Had to sacrifice that and get that out of there. There was another kind of detail back here. We'll re-add those at a later date with plastic sheet and everything. But yeah, it just kind of goes to show you what we're working with here with this, you know, dumpster fire of a weapon. Still need to clean some of the surfaces in this, but clip the pegs out of here and got these slotted in. That actually fits half decent now in there. And so yeah, so there's that. You can also see the gap between that part and that part right there, right? And you can, yeah, there you go. You can see it just right here, that open gaping wound of a gap. I will address that and fill that in, and we'll make that look go away and look good and everything like that. We'll add some filler strip in here, and yeah, you'll never notice it at the end of the day. So, and you can kind of see, like, man, the slop, the wiggle in this thing, just just come on, man. But I mean, it's a beautiful looking weapon. You can't take that away. It's a beautiful design. And I mean, I really, really love it. And that's why I picked it. So, yeah, we're going to go through this and get that into a point where I'm happy with it, where I would be happy with the Hyaku Shiki using it, or maybe some other future project or something like that. But yeah, I'm not going to let this thing. I'm not going to let this thing win. Let's put it that way. All right. Apex Nerd says dumpster dive into the spare parts boxes, tedious but worth it when kit bashing. Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Brandon says, looks like with all the issues with that Oregon, the mold was poor quality or wearing out. Oh, the mold was, yeah, the mold I think was pretty much terrible. The company, the Chinese company, and I forget who manufactured it. This, I think, was like more of a one-off thing. Probably, you know, a one-off company that did this run, and then you never heard of them again. They obviously, I mean, they stole the design from Studio Reckless. So, Yeah. At the time, and mind you, this was kind of early mid 2000s. So the Chinese mom and pop kind of organizations, not the mainstream Chinese manufacturers like Mang and those types of guys. They hadn't gotten their kind of shit together, their manufacturing process for injection molding for scale models and things like that. And so yeah, just every yeah, everything's off center, out of square. There are rounded curved surfaces where it should be beveled. So yeah, a lot of corners cut. Let's put it that way. A lot of corners cut. So yeah, it is what it is. Like I said, I will make this thing look good, and we'll get it into a point where I'm happy with either the Shiki or some other project using this. So we're going to put this off to the side. We're going to get on our scratch build weapon here. Now, one thing that I went ahead and did last night was I actually flattened one of, yeah, you can kind of see that there. There you go. Nice little profile. Flattened the surface here so we can basically start to work there as I drop it. And it also doesn't roll away on us too. So yeah, started on that. Michael Dawson says, this weekend I need to reorganize my table. I don't remember where I put anything. Yeah, I have that issue too. So, all right. So we've got this. Now, I think what we need to do is start to kind of think about the design of the body of this thing. Last night on the stream, we took a field trip and looked at some pictures, and kind of the basis of this design that we're going to remix on this is a Nerf gun. What was it? What was that thing called? It was the long shot. Let me see. Strong arm. That's what it's called. The strong arm. And here, I'll show you guys here real quick. Let's enable the screen capture. Boom, this guy right here. So I like the design of this. We're not going to go one for one on this, but we're definitely going to take elements from this. I like the barrel, the kind of drum in there. Now, mind you, this is a revolver, so we're not doing a revolver, type of thing. We're just going to, kind of take that overall shape from this thing. I like how it's kind of encapsulated both on the top and the bottom. I really, really like that. I like the length kind of it as well. It's a little bit of a long boy, but it's not bad. It's respectable, So that will be the basis for our design, right? So I think the first thing that we need to do is we need to decide on how long this thing is going to be, right? So if we use the Oregon body as kind of a template here almost in terms of, what we want to do. This thing comes in at about a little bit under 65 millimeters. So, 6.5 centimeters there, which is not bad. I'm thinking maybe we shorten that a bit, right? I'm thinking instead of it being, oh, actually, 60. Yeah, if we measure, let me show you here. Yeah, little bit under 65, about 63 is what I'm looking at. So if we maybe shorten that by a good 10 millimeters or so, I think that'll get us into where we want to be. Maybe even 15, maybe go 45 millimeters on this. Let's see, 45. This is 20 millimeters all by itself, right? Yeah. I think that'll give us a good bit of wiggle room. Yeah. I think 40-45 is going to be our happy point for this, for the length of this weapon. So let's go with that. So what's this? This is 40. I'm looking at this strip of 0.5 millimeter, and this is about 41 millimeters long. So that's not bad. And then, like I said, we've got our drum here, and we'll leave a little room up here kind of for the kind of stubby, front of this this thing, and then that leaves us all this room back here for, pretty stuff, handle, all that, right? The juicy details and things. And then, mind you, this will be kind of underneath a bit, maybe right about there-ish. Kind of like that. And then it'll be a little shorter. All right, let's plot this thing out here real quick. Just so I can kind of get an idea. Let's, where'd the T-square go? There it is. All right, so, you bastard. All right. Okay. So I think that's kind of going to be where we want that. Okay, cool. And then plot this. What do we want up here? Maybe 3 millimeters? And that'll give us a good little bit of room there for the stubby front, right? Now this comes in at about 10 mil. Let's see. Right there. Right about there is the length of the drum. Okay. There's that. Okay. And then I'm thinking maybe another 3 millimeters below the drum here. So there's the rough shape of the body right here, right? And if we do a simple comparison here, a 1v1, here is what this looks like comparatively. So much shorter than the original Aura gun. And then the body, this part here is roughly going to be about the same size. So that'll be good there. And then what I'll do is, let's see, come over maybe another 3. Right there. Another 3mm. Just like that. And that, well, that may be too much. That may be too much. We'll go maybe 2mm on that. Right about there. Just like that. Okay. All right. And then this needs to extend out here. This is going to be that kind of stubby look in front. And what we can do is kind of do that all the way down. Yeah, like that. Okay. So that there. Of course, have a little bevel there, maybe. All right. Brandon says, woke up with a cold and man, it is kicking my ass today. Dude, I've been there. Been there. Yeah. It's never fun. It's never fun. See, now I'm kind of rethinking this because, like I said, I want to keep the spirit of this, but I want to remix it a little bit. And now I'm rethinking, and this is kind of what George had mentioned last night, kind of going back and forth, you know, 1 step forward, 2 step back, you know, that type of process here. What I'm rethinking is the bottom below, you know, the bottom part of the body below the drum. I'm not exactly feeling it right now. Now that I look at this, you know, all right. So let's rethink this. So if we have just the drum hanging, you know, kind of like the Oregon, right? Because here, I'll put the handle back on for effect. So there's that, right? The drum hangs, and then the body is higher than the drum. And I think we want to keep that aesthetic. Because, like I said, We're just simply remixing it. That we're keeping the spirit of this thing. I don't want to go off script too much with this. And doing this goes off script. It goes more toward the what was that thing called? Long shot? Strong arm. Goes more for, you know, toward the Nerf strong arm direction than it does with keeping the spirit of the Oregon. All right. Okay. All right. All right. All right. All right. So let's do this. Actually, I have a bunch of pieces of 1/2 mil. Here we go. Zero Kai says, bro, ditch the drum mag, to be honest. No. We can't do that. Like I said, I want to keep... I like this look a lot. I like the drum. That's the main aspect of this. So yeah, we can't drop the drum. That's, like I said, we want to remix this idea. The drum is an absolute essential part of this. So yeah, can't drop the drum. Cannot drop the drum. All right, so this is 41. All right, so let's just kind of get a... make it a little bit easier to work with here. There we go. All right, so... Okay. And then for... just for reference here. All right. So I shouldn't be... just going off of this weapon and the original Shiki weapon, I shouldn't be scared of the height. That's what I'm seeing at this point. Okay. All right, so we'll go a little bit heavier on the front, stubbiness, and then go there. Where do we want to position this? Maybe right about there. Maybe split that in half. Yeah, I like that look. Okay, cool. So we've got 12 there. So 17. There. Okay, so that should be overall width. Yeah, okay. All right, I think we're in good shape. I think this is a good direction. All right. So there's our drum. Boom. right there. All right. And now the body extends lower here ahead of the drum than behind it. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Cool, 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 cool. Okay, so then what we need to do, make the rifle version of it. Nah. I always wanted this thing to have like kind of a pistol anyways, just to kind of enhance the lightness and the speed of this thing. So I don't want this to kind of have a, you know, big hulking rifle or anything like that. Even, you know, even this thing I think is just too big for the concept, you know, that we're going with. But yeah. All right. So what we want to do then, maybe what we do is go a little bit lower on the front, maybe 2-3 millimeter lower. Right there. Yeah, we could go 3. Here we go. Yeah. Yeah. All right, cool. So we'll just have a hint of the drum peeking out from the front here. I think that'll look, yeah, I think that looks good. All right, cool. And then what we can do, so basically what I'm thinking is for our version, eliminate this whole back section here and then make that look way more pistol-like. Yeah. 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 Okay. So, using this as a reference here, perfect. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, that sits real nice. Okay. All right. I think we're cooking. I think we're cooking here. All right. So just kind of lightly trace on. whole length of this grip. We do not. Okay, cool. We can actually cut a bunch off and save us some space there. What gun is that, anyways? This this right here is the it's what's called an Aura gun design, ORE-GUN. It's was originally designed by a company called Studio Reckless out of Japan. They used to make like resin kits and things like that. They did, you know, like concept art and kind of reimaginings of you know, different one-year war mobile suits and things. And they did I think a series of 4 original weapon designs, and this by far was, you know, my favorite one. There were a few others that were really, really good, but yeah, this one stood out. This one definitely stood out. And then when, you know, like I said, this Chinese company kind of made made it into a, you know, an actual physical model, man, I jumped at it. And I have like a few sets of these things. I'm not sure where they are, but they're around here somewhere. But yeah, I really, really like this. Really like this whole kind of concept and look. So, yeah. All right. Okay. I have at very least an idea of where I want to go with this thing. Okay. Let's get our hands dirty. Here we go. Here we go. I need that, definitely. Okay. So I'm thinking along the lines of how to construct this thing. In terms of being able to pull it apart for painting, you know, because that's going to be, you know, obviously a major part of this. Brandon says you talked to Z lately. I have not, man. He's been doing his own thing. So, yeah, he hasn't been on, you know, the what is it? The Build Sideways podcast in a long time. So I'm not sure, you know, what's going on with him, but hopefully everything's good. Yeah. All right, Michael Dawson, here we go. We have a question. When a male peg is too thin to fit, we're talking like 1 to half millimeter gap. What is better to use, putty on the peg or inside the joint, or using gel CA glue in the same way? Oh, shit, man. So the peg is smaller than, you know, than the hole. That's a tough one. I'd probably go with putty inside of the receiver hole, and then slather the peg side with, you know, the petroleum jelly, put the two together. That way it'll form the kind of receiving hole that you'll need for that peg. Make sure your alignment is good and everything, and just leave it there. Let it cure. And then that petroleum jelly will act as a release agent, and you'll be able to pull those apart, hopefully pretty easily. But yeah, that's probably what I would do. Yeah. Because if you were to just simply fill the current receiving hole, you'd have to then drill a new hole into, the putty or glue or whatever you put in there. And then you run the risk of bad alignment. So, yeah, I think just thinking about it logically, the easiest thing to do would probably be the putty route. And, yeah, slather that other piece up and put the two together and let it sit. Let it cure. Try not to move, and adjust too much. That putty will obviously squeeze out of the, the receiving hole and everything. But yeah. Michael Dawson says, I'm trying to fit the elbow joint of the Hyaku to the bicep frame of the Jagan. Okay. Yeah. Elbow joint of the Hyaku to the bicep frame of the Jagan. Okay. Yeah. Shit. I mean, if you could connect it in some other way, it may be more beneficial, Mike. Yeah. That's a tough one without visually seeing what you're trying to do, So, yeah. Let's see. Giovanni, he's with us. What's going on, buddy? Hello, everyone. Since work is slow today, I'm starting late, getting out early. Hey-oh, nice. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so jump the gun on that one. Greg Avani, question. Any recommendations for good Gunpla podcasts? There's not many. Built Sideways, like Brandon said, is probably going to be my, recommendation. Now, mind you, I know all the guys and I'm friends with them and everything, so I'm biased. But love what they do. They keep the conversation going. They have good conversations. They have guests sometimes too. I've been on there, once. But yeah, good guys, great modelers. Very, very different. All four different, well, five now, because Paul is now a regular, but very different approaches and thought processes to the hobby and everything too. So you kind of get that benefit there as well. So yeah, I would say the Built Sideways podcast. Yeah. So Mike says, I'll post a picture of what I'm wanting to do in the Mecha Facebook chat later today. Mike, post it into the YouTube community, because you guys can post in that now. So if you go to my page, my YouTube page, you go to the community tab or button or whatever. It's basically like a, message board, Facebook feed, what have you. So post it to that so everybody can see. And then, we'll see what's what there. So that would probably be the best thing to do. So yeah, post it in there if you can. Or both, whatever, floats your boat. So, all right. Let's get this rig rolling here. Brandon says you could try building up the male peg with CA glue and kicker, sanding smooth until you get the fit you want. True. Again, though, There are a few risks involved in that. Number one, if the pegs are super thin, you run the risk of breaking one of those, and then you're really kind of shit out of luck. There's no, I'll be honest, there's no good way of doing it other than trying to come up with a solution, like a custom solution that you do yourself and design yourself. And that way you can build it around whatever connection that you want at that point, you know. The other risk that you run, you know, with that method is being consistent all the way around, you know, the peg, the diameter of the peg there too. So there's pros and cons to both, you know. And honestly, the solution that I suggested is no better off than, you know, what Brandon suggested, if I'm being honest. Because if you pack the receiving holes full of putty and everything, and you slather up the other side and all that, and you put the two pieces together, well, you know, if you didn't, you know, hit your alignment at least really, really close, you're going to have to shift that around, meaning that the putty inside those receiving holes are going to shift around too. And since it's putty, it's not going to shift back. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I mean, it's at both ends, it's one half dozen or another. So, yeah, Mikey, post a picture of it and let us see kind of what you're trying to do with some nice close-ups and everything, and we can kind of circle back and maybe give you some better insight at that point. So yeah, just from what you described, it's a tough situation. So yeah, give us some pictures. So all right. All right. I'm kind of hitting a block here with this thing, and what the direction I want to go. All right. Maybe we're forced to go a little longer. Okay. All right, this edge is square, so we're going to work off from here. All right, and that edge is square too. Okay, cool. All right, so that was originally, this design was originally 41. This again is bordering on 63. I'm thinking we go 50, but man, that's gonna be long. Maybe if we extend it to 45, that'll be better. Okay. Yeah, that might work. That might work. Maybe give it a little bit more breathing room than that. don't need the whole length of this handle either. We can easily shave off 2 millimeters of height. From this, okay. So if we do that, lowest point there, that would be 15 millimeter. Yeah. Shit. I keep forgetting how large in comparison the hands are with this thing. If it, you know, in physical, you know, size, meaning, you know, in real one-to-one size. All right, so then what we do come on. All right, so if we extend this to 50, what would that look like here? Yeah, fuck it. Let's go 50. Let's go 50. 50 millimeters. All right. Doesn't sound like a lot, right? All right. So there's essentially the length of our pistola. Pistola. All right. What's up, Luis? He says, "Hey guys, good to be here." Hey man. We're running into design block here and issues with this thing, and I'm trying to think my way through, and I'm having difficulty, if I'm being honest. So we're doing this scratch build from last night, right? Scratch building the weapon and everything, and yeah, it's just not, the ideas for this thing are just not coming the way that I want them to. Let's do... a little poster tack in here so we can kind of fix this thing into place. Oh, you little bitch. You little bitch. All right. So... Okay, so again, we're not reinventing the wheel here. We are remixing. So we want shades of similarity. All right, so okay. I think I may have an idea. Okay. Okay. I think we got something cooking, you guys. I think we got something cooking. All right, let me cook. Let me cook. Sorry if my big fucking head's in the way. I just need to kind of get this sketched out and get it out of my head. Just worried about there. There. Okay, so I'll come down hard on a 90-degree angle there. And then that should give enough overall room. Maybe when we want to give it a little bit more breathing room there. Okay. Let me see something here. Okay. So basically what I'm doing here is just using the grip that came with the original gun, just as kind of like a template for this. Okay. All right, and then right there. Okay. Okay. I think we have a working outline for the body shape. All right. Jesus, that's a fucking forever. Let's see. Giovanni says, I think a Gumpa podcast would be hard to make because you need to come up with fresh ideas daily. How many times can you talk about your list of Gundams that you want Bandai to release? Yeah, I mean, daily obviously would be impossible. The guys that built Sideways, they do like a monthly. So, they have a lot of good ideas and things like that, and they have their own Discord and everything, and they kind of get ideas from folks in there and stuff too. So they make it work. A lot of it obviously is talking about the hobby, the goings-ons, the like I said before, kind of the philosophy of different things too. So I think they do a really, really good job. Jesus. One of the episodes here recently that I really, really enjoyed is the topic was what would they do with GBWC if they had control of it? And I thought that was really good. It was very, very insightful. So yeah, I really enjoyed that episode quite a lot. They did a great job. So, and those are types of the things that they talk about, kind of more what ifs and, philosophical things in terms of the hobby and, kind of their thought processes of how to go into certain things and stuff. So, yeah, really, really good. Really good. But yeah, daily, I agree with you, Giovanni, would be just absolutely shit impossible. Brand says, okay, so the joint itself needs to be built up while still keeping its shape for smooth rotation. Got it. Okay. Oh, okay, so it looks like Mike posted those pictures. Okay, cool. Let's take a looky look. See what we're working with here, Mikey. Come on now. Interwebs, go. Here we are. All right. Let's see. Okay, here we go. All right. So this is one. All right. Let's go over here. All right, so here's what we're working with. Mike says this is what I'm working with in terms of parts for connecting the Hyaku Verkaz elbow to the master grade Jagan's bicep frame. Okay, so let's take a look. Can you not enlarge? Fucking YouTube. Okay. 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 Um, so, all right, Mikey, here's another thought. Um, how much bigger does the peg for the how much bigger does the peg have to be in terms of diameter? We talking half a millimeter, 1 millimeter? What are we thinking at that point? Because I may have another solution for you that may get you into a better solution or a better, course of action. Okay, so he says 1 or half a millimeter. Okay, so that in diameter, that's how much bigger it needs to be. Okay. So what you could do is this. Let me show you real quick. All right. All right. So if it's 1 millimeter, you take a half millimeter strip, right? And just like if you remember, kind of doing those ribbons when you were a kid, you take, kind of something circular and you just kind of go like this. And see, that puts a curve into it, right? Just keep doing that, right? Until that strip really, really is nice and flexible, right? Do it maybe a dozen times or so. And then what you can try and do is then wrap this with super glue around that peg, and that will get you a more consistent diameter at that point, right? That you can, try and fit into the receiving hole. If it's too wide, you can lightly try to sand this down and lower the diameter. And then same thing with, if it's only a half millimeter larger, then you take a 1/4 millimeter strip. Same thing, right? You just put that little curl into it, get the strip kind of starting to flex and everything, and then glue that right around the peg. Now, obviously, it's going to be so much easier with thinner plastic. So if it's only a half millimeter, yeah, I would say do that. But little super glue, yeah, that may be another solution for you. So that's just kind of what I'm thinking at that point. But yeah, thankfully, the from what it looks like, okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, Mikey. Okay. So basically what you're doing is you're taking the Jagan forearm from what it looks like, right? And no, you're taking the Verka elbow to the upper arm of the Jagan. Okay. And that pivoting peg in there, the one that actually pivots in there like this, right? That's what's smaller. Okay. So yeah. I would I would probably go the plastic strip route at that point, because that is a little bit of a larger diameter peg that you're trying, to enlarge. So it's probably going to be a bit easier. See, here I was thinking that you were talking about literally, you know, 1 millimeter to a half a millimeter sized pegs, like something minuscule, like these little bastards right here that are basically pin sized, right? That's what I was kind of under the impression of first when you described it, but now that I look at it, yeah, much better understanding with the pictures. Yeah, I would venture to say that the plastic strip, the thin plastic strip, just kind of laminated on the outside, will probably get you into the ballpark at very least. And then from there, you can kind of just start to shave down around the circumference of the thing with the hobby knife, just to fine tune it if it's too big at that point too. But that would be yeah, that would be a decent solution, I would say. Yeah, I would say go with that. So, but yeah. Ty Furious is with us. What's going on, dude? What's up, everyone? We are struggling today. I'm not gonna lie. We are fucking struggling. It sucks. Oh man, let's see. Let's get caught up here. Let's see. All right, Brandon says I would look at plastic, using plastic rod to go over. Oh yeah, see, we think alike, Brandon. See, the same type of thing. The only problem, most of the tubes are usually 1 millimeter in wall thickness, so that would add another 2 millimeters, from side to side to the diameter. But yeah, I kind of thought that too initially. But seeing what he's working with, yeah. Same type of thing. Same type of thing. Giovanni says if you don't have someone like this stream, it won't work. Someone that is in the trenches customizing, using tools, this format is better. Yeah, I mean, the visual, obviously, I think, definitely helps. But the guys, especially on Built Sideways, they know their shit backwards and forwards. I mean, they are really, really good at customizing, scratch building, the whole 9 yards. So, yeah, those guys absolutely have, the chops to talk about all this stuff. So, yeah, you got Chris Pabs, who's wonderful builder. Like, some of his builds are just absolutely amazing. Painting is insane. He's been commissioned to build a 1/100th, what is it? Is it Yag Mirage from 5 Star Stories, the Twin Towers? That thing is like 5 feet tall. It's insane. And yeah, some of his past models are just off the charts good. You've got Brian, Mr. Bro Builder, scratch building fucking savant. He's done full-on scratch builds, and just super, super good at manufacturing and all of that. Construction, really good. Clipping Nubs, amazing, his takes on different things. Very, very skilled builder. Great opinions for the most part. He doesn't give a shit. Love Julio to death. You've got Kyle, who loves to do kind of, your kind of off the wall. Well, I shouldn't say off the wall, but he's got his own unique style and perspective on how to do things, and I really, really like what he does. you know, he's been starting to do a lot of like figures and things like that. Really good work. And then Paul, who's kind of the newest, but you know, he's been around the hobby for a very long time. Again, really good builder. So, you know, all those guys put together, they've got their own opinions and ways to think about things and to do things. Yeah, really, really good. Really good. Let's see. What's this here? Okay, Brandon says could make two washers and drill the correct size hole through them and glue on each side of the center hole. It should give you a tighter fit with minimal thickness added. Interesting. That's interesting. Charles Dodge, done with work class. Got a few moments before, gotta go back to work. Buddy, what's going on, Charles? Good to see you. Thank you for stopping by. We're struggling here today, unfortunately. We just don't have the mojo to visualize what I need to visualize here with this damn thing. Yeah, you can't enlarge on the fucking website is dumb, right? Yeah, it is dumb. It is dumb. Giovanni says Chris Pabs only know one color, purple. He does like his purple. He does like his purple. Michael Dawson, gotta head to work later. Mikey, thank you, buddy. Everyone's forget Z. Actually, we were talking about Z just a little bit earlier because Brandon asked if I had talked to Z, and I have not in a long time. But, you know, Z hasn't been on Built Sideways for, you know, a very, very long time. And I think that's, you know, unfortunate. You know, I love hearing perspectives from Zashawn, man. Miss that dude. Really, really good guy. Love him to death. But yeah, he hasn't been on, you know, the podcast for God, who knows how long at this point. So it's been a while. But yeah, we don't forget about him. He's one of the founding parts of that thing. So yeah. Anywho, all right. I think I have at very least an idea of the body, right? This part here. Boom, right there. That part, right? I'm gonna have to think about how I want this to go together, though, because that's gonna be the tough part. Because I think what we did here with the Oregon in terms of modularity, you know, and just having these kind of three pieces just slot in together, I think that's a really good way of taking this thing apart, and we may have to mirror that modularity to our scratch built version, right? Yeah, because, you know, obviously we want the drum to come out and be paintable in its own. The handle obviously will create problems if you don't disconnect that from, you know, kind of points up in here and all around. And it's always harder to sand in an enclosed space like this and scrape and detail and everything. It's always much, much harder. I mean, it ramps it up 10 times, you know, in difficulty for, you know, internal spaces like this, right? So by, you fucker, by having the three pieces for our scratch build, I think will be the way to go. Proven precedent in all of this. So I think that's what we're going to do. I think that'll be good. All right. So now, I'm looking at this thing and maybe we raise the drum a little bit. You can see there, comparing these two together, the drum sits higher on this one than it does on ours. And I think I may want to go that route. Yeah, okay. Not a problem. All right, so we need geometry. We need shapes that we can cut. All right. So I'm going to try to be super careful with this thing and highly accurate. So I'm using the chisel first. Just to get our lines set in. There's that. And then all right, so mark this out here real quick. Right there. All right. So now we come over. Alright, I think we have a little bit of a plan of action here at very least. Good deal there. All right, so now let's get this. All right, so last line here. All right. Good deal. Alrighty, let's get caught up here real quick. Apex Nerd, how you feeling, Ty? Ty says a lot better than last month. Chest X-ray shows my pneumonia is gone. Oh shit, dude! Wow. Well, good. That's very good news. I didn't know you had pneumonia, man. Well, good. I'm glad. It sounds like you're starting to feel better, Ty. So that's a good thing. Holy shit! Wow. Well, step in the right direction. Pneumonia's no fucking joke. No joke. So I'm glad you're feeling better, bud. Glad you're feeling better. Now we're just going to go back over this, cut through these lines, and then we'll have our kind of starter geometry here for this thing. You son of a bitch. Alrighty then. All right. Good deal. Really just one more line here. We got a, well, one and a little itty bitty line here. And then we'll be able to get this thing going here. All right, let's see. We may be able to score and snap this. Still a little thick. There we go, yeah. We'll do the old knife trick here. There we are. All right. So there is our initial geometry for this. Need to clean these lines up just a little bit. Excellent. I have enough plastic there to duplicate that part. We won't do that right now though. So there's kind of where the drum will sit. I think I'm gonna raise this edge a couple millimeters. I don't think I compensated for, you know, this edge when I raised the height of the drum there. And then this is just more for yeah. I like that. I like that. Maybe lower that just a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of dig that look. All right. Rock and roll. So, at least we have kind of a plan of action. That's kind of always the direction that I, you know, kind of want to go. And there's the bigger brother, the Aura gun, right? So, yeah. I like our version. I think it's going to look cool. We'll get into the details and everything. This is just general geometry and shaping and everything. You know, we're gonna get to the point where, you know, we'll have these you know, little trapezoidal cutouts and things like that, surface details, you know, the different angles and stuff. This is super, super, super rough. So, yeah, not bad. Not bad. All right. Brandon says, off to lunch. See you all tomorrow. Good deal. Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah, so you guys, this just goes to show you, everybody has a has a bad day when it comes to creativity and hitting a block, right? I definitely did today. I struggled today. And I may even brainstorm a little bit more on this guy and see what's what, and see if we can't refine things a bit more, you know? So, but we'll jump that hurdle when we get there. So, all right, you guys. Always remember, if you're not willing to learn, no one can help you. But if you're determined to learn, no one can stop you. Keep that in mind. I'll be back tomorrow, daytime. And come on back for that. We're going to continue working on this thing. And just be safe out there. Build something cool. And yeah, I'll see you guys later.